Macbeth, Act 1, Scene 1, Summary and Analysis. Act 1, Scene 1 begins with the sound of thunder and flashes of lightning. 3 witches, named the Weird Sisters, enter the stage. The first witch asks the others, "When shall we 3 meet again? In thunder, lightning, or in rain?" And the second witch responds that they should meet after a great battle that has been lost and won. They then identify the place of meeting as a heath or rugged area of grassland. There they will meet with the Scottish nobleman Macbeth. The first 2 witches then answer to 2 animal spirits known as familiars, Grey Malkin, a cat, and Paddock, a toad, which seem to be calling to them. They then chant an ominous-sounding spell. "Fair is foul, and foul is fair. Hover through the fog and filthy air," before exiting the stage. Analysis. In the opening scene of the play, Shakespeare seeks to establish the overarching mood and atmosphere of superstition, malevolence, and confusion, which will drive much of the narrative moving forward. The Weird Sisters would be immediately identified to a superstitious Jacobean audience as witches, since Shakespeare references several attributes which were commonly associated with witchcraft. Firstly, the use of sound and lighting to mimic thunder and lightning references the belief that witches could influence the weather and summon storms. The first witch's question, "When shall we 3 meet again? In thunder, lightning, or in rain?" confirms this, as it implies the sisters can actively choose the weather for their next meeting. Additionally, the witches seem to have knowledge of the future, another commonly held belief about witchcraft. When the discussion turns to the battle, which will be lost and won, the third witch states, "That will be ere, or before, the set of sun." Shakespeare then includes their response to familiars, or animal spirits, and of course the ominous spell, "Fair is foul, and foul is fair," to end the scene, so the audience can be in no doubt of the evil identity and supernatural powers of these characters. Shakespeare was first and foremost an entertainer, and his decision to use the witches at the very start of the play does serve as a dramatic device to hook the audience's attention and whet their appetite for the trouble and turmoil which follows later in the story. But it is also worth noting that Macbeth was the first play Shakespeare wrote following the ascension to the English throne of King James I, who was formerly King of Scotland. Eager for the new king's approval, and to have access to the wealthy king's patronage, Shakespeare must have done his homework. James was, like many of his time, highly superstitious. He was obsessed with witchcraft. He had blamed witchcraft for a fearsome storm in 1589, which nearly shipwrecked him and his future bride Anne as they returned to Scotland from Denmark. Following his return to Scotland, he had presided over witch trials and a renewed national obsession with witches, which led to the trial and deaths of many women. James even wrote a book about witchcraft, Demonology, which explored how to identify and punish witches. With all of this in mind, Shakespeare clearly aimed to pique the new king's interest and gain his favour by using witches at the opening of the play. Shakespeare is careful, though, to establish them as antagonists or villains, so as not to offend his new king's sensibilities. Key quote analysis. Consider Shakespeare's use of rhyme and metre in the witch's famous spell, "Fair is foul, and foul is fair. Hover through the fog and filthy air." These lines use a trochaic metre, which is a pattern of a stressed syllable followed by an unstressed syllable. Fair is foul, and foul is fair. Can you hear the aggressive and jarring rhythm it creates? Furthermore, a rhyming couplet is employed with fair and air, which creates a song or chant-like rhythm, which tells the audience the witches are casting a spell, creating a tense and fearful atmosphere. Finally, by juxtaposing the words fair, which means good, and foul, meaning evil or disgusting, Shakespeare creates a paradoxical statement. This is a statement which does not make logical sense. This hints or foreshadows the strange and deceptive events which will follow, characters will make fair words which contradict their foul intentions. This brief but intense scene is therefore vital in establishing the theme of the supernatural and the ominous mood of the play as a whole.